There are some things that I do better now. At the time, I would not have thought that, but I have more things to learn, Just the realization of that there are always new things to learn. You can always get better at some things.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of URJourney, where we gather stories of resilience, growth, and self discovery. On today's episode, we have Matilda Ekholm, and thank you so much, Matty, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let me give our listeners a brief overview of Matty has under her belt. So Matty has been top 20 in table tennis in the world, is a four-time Olympic qualifier, best 16 at World Singles Championships in 2015, four-time medalist at European Championships, semi-final at Europe Top 12, best 8 at Pro Tour Final 2012, seven-time Swedish national singles champion, nine-time Swedish national doubles and mixed doubles champion, and many, 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 many more. But that was a part of what she has had with her long career so far. So we want to hear from you, Matty. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and I guess let's start it light with a fun fact about you.
I usually say that I've the most yellow cards out of anyone I know playing ping pong. So yeah, that's a fun fact, I guess.
Wonderful. And please tell our listeners your name.
So I'm Matilda Ekholm and I'm from Sweden. I've been playing ping pong for over 30 years.
And really, how sure are you that you have the most yellow cards of all the players?
Because many times I will get one every match, and I don't see anyone else doing that.
Have you counted how many yellow cards you've gotten?
No, I don't know how many there are, but I just know that it's basically every match.
Okay.
So that makes a lot of yellow cards.
Hopefully one of our listeners out there can count for you. Looking at life so far, it feels like you've already achieved a lot and you're still doing a lot more matches. So my question is, what do you think has really shaped you into really becoming like a competitive ping pong player?
Growing up in a family where there was not a lot of pressure on the results, rather having fun and enjoying what you do, I think that has really shaped me in my whole life, and it allowed me to continue playing even when I was not the best. And it was more about my own journey and getting better. And for as long as I was getting better, it was still inspiring. Table tennis is not a sport that you can learn and then be done with it. You can play ping pong your whole life and still learn new things. So I think that's what's kept me going and always get better all the time.
How did you discover table tennis?
In Sweden, it's a pretty big sport. It's not weird to start playing when you're young. So I started playing in the local club. My brother also played, and my dad was a decent player, so it was in the family.
But I'm also curious because being an Olympic level athlete must have its like challenges. What do you think has been the biggest challenge in your career so far when it comes to, I guess, trying to stay in the sport?
I think for me, the biggest challenges have been also the most rewarding things, just learning to handle your career on your own. Many times there was not a lot of support. It was kind of on and off financially and also in terms of coaches traveling with you. There was a lot of times I had to do the things on my own, and that can be very challenging and lonely. But when you realize that you actually can do it, then it's very rewarding, obviously.
And what do you mean by doing things on your own? Like, what were examples of that?
So to deal with your development, your training schedule, your training plan, long-term, short-term, it's a whole project to do a sport at this level. And when there's not someone that you can always talk to about things, then you have to figure them out yourself. And sometimes you have support and sometimes not. So you just have to learn to maneuver and go forward also when there is no support around you.
Like, I can just imagine, like, even just like with diet or what to focus on.
Yeah.
Especially with training and everything. It can get
Yes,
overwhelming if you're by yourself.
Yes. It can be just simple thing as like figuring out which tournaments to go to. If you have a limited budget, like which tournament should I focus on and which ones should I rest from and when should I practice and how much should I practice, all of those things.
Was there a specific point in your life where there was the moment of, oh, actually, I'm not going to do anything else. I'll actually just do table tennis?
So when I was a little bit over 20 years old, I had done some classes at university. I was doing them part-time while I was training hard. Trying for a little bit, I was just like, no, this is just taking focus off from my ping pong. I know some of my competitors, they were able to study at the same time and they did it well, but for me it was just draining my energy. So yeah, I want to say like around 25, 27, 28, I was like, no, I'm just gonna go for it.
Oh, okay. What were you taking up in college, I guess, or university that made you say, I'm not gonna take this, I'm gonna take table tennis?
Yeah, so I started doing sports science, but half of the program you can pick and choose your own classes. It can be other subjects. So I just picked the ones that I found interesting, and it was about video games and languages, which I like. And then when I had to start doing the actual sports science, then I dropped out because then it didn't feel inspiring anymore.
Of that. I know you've had many accomplishments already, but out of all of them, what accomplishment are you most proud of and why?
I think it was the first medal at European Championships that I was part of, which was a team event. And I think in general, team events has stayed with me longer, team and doubles, because you're sharing it with someone. And this was the first medal that we won for Sweden in many years. We beat the favorites in the quarterfinal, which was Romania. They are a very strong nation. I played the leading part in winning that match. And so I think that's the biggest pride I have and best memories because it was the first one.
Yeah, do you prefer being in team matches rather than solo matches? And how come you prefer one thing over the other?
100% team. I think it goes back to what I spoke about before with like running your own career, and it can be lonely, but when you play on a team, of course it's harder to lose because you feel also a little bit guilty when you didn't win for the team, but the feeling of winning with the team and celebrating with them, it beats everything, I think.
Is there someone in your life who has greatly influenced or helped your journey?
Oh, there are so many people. Like I couldn't have done my career without them. It can be everything from a doubles partner to my parents to coaches, and particular coaches that have helped me extra. There's not one person, but it's a whole thing. And if I were to do this all alone from start to finish, I would never have done it. So yeah, there's so many people that I'm grateful for.
So I guess it takes a village to really get those wins and where you are at right now.
Yes, for sure.
What are some valuable lessons that you've learned so far?
That's a big question. I think even when I was physically at my best and playing my best level, I didn't realize that even now when I'm a little bit older and I don't play full-time anymore, I play only part-time, but still playing at a very high level. There are some things that I do better now. And at the time, I would not have thought that I have more things to learn, you know? I think just the realization of that there are always new things to learn. You can always get better at some things. Like, I think in the past couple of years, I've learned more about diet and physical training. And you can always think like, oh, if I knew that back then, but I think that's part of the journey. Like some things you just meant to learn them as you go, and you just have to kind of appreciate the whole journey, that you're always gonna be full of flaws, and that's okay.
I mean, I know there's always like that stigma of like, oh, at a certain age, this is your peak. And then now that I'm hearing that actually there are things that you're better at now as the years pass by, how come say that, oh, I'm actually better at these things? What accounted for those things?
When I stopped playing full time, I started coaching. And as I was coaching, there were some things I had never thought about. I just knew them as a player, but I never knew why I knew them. Just like when you learn to speak your native language. But learning, like by teaching, I also learned like the fundamentals behind something. And then I could apply it to myself and think about, why am I doing it this way? Is there a reason for me to change something in my own game? Or should I continue the way I'm playing? Or the way I'm doing physical training? Or the way I'm thinking mentally around the match? Or the way I'm preparing, the way I'm meditating? It can be anything. But as a player, when I was only playing full time, not thinking about anything else, made me a little bit like narrow. Coaching has expanded my views. And also, I guess, just getting older, hopefully a little bit wiser.
But do you think, like, if we went back to when you were younger and you had only just, table tennis to think of, would you have suggested to give yourself the space to do all the other things? Or it's really just part of the journey as an athlete as the years go by?
If I would be able to turn back time now, then maybe yes, I would allow myself a little bit more thinking outside of the box and not stress so much about making sure that I got my practices in or doing the things I was doing, and instead like maybe take a little bit longer break at some point and do something else and see what new perspectives I could find. But that's not something I would have thought of for sure.
What keeps you grounded or motivated during some of the difficult seasons?
That's an interesting question. This past month, so what I did was I stopped playing for 3 years and then I started playing again. And pretty quickly I started to feel like, oh, I can come back in a good shape. And now for the past year, I've been playing really well. And then in the past month has been the first time really that I've felt like, oh, my level went down suddenly. Maybe I forgot how to play now. And you get this fear that, oh, maybe now it's really over, But then one of my best friends, and we were talking, she's also a player, and we spoke about how it's sometimes just like a feeling, and that all you can do in that situation is just like keep going and not overthink it, because there was nothing, particular that would have made this happen. So just keep going and try to enjoy the trainings and kind of just be in it. And then in the last matches I played a lot better. It was nice to know that, okay, I can just trust the process. And if it happens that one day I don't come back to my good shape or I stop playing well, then that's it. Like you can't force that. So I think you just have to be grateful for the time that you have in whatever you do, and yeah, enjoy it.
I guess it's very different for an athlete, aside from for me, I'm like trying to think of the correlation with sports and art, and like I can just wake up and be like, oh, I know I can still do art, but like with being an athlete, there is that fear of like, okay, I know I've done my 10,000 hours of training, but I'm still not sure if I'm able to do it today. And now that I'm hearing that, it's like, that is a real fear. And like, I'm curious, like, is there like a mantra or a saying or a quote that you tell yourself?
For me, the main thing in life in general and sports particular is that I need to meditate. every day. And I try to do 10 minutes per day. And the days that I feel really motivated, I do more than 10 minutes. That will keep me calm. It makes my emotions not run in all the directions. It will also make me more grateful in general. So just a happier person. The struggle is to actually do it and force myself to do it, even on days I really don't want to because it's so boring. But then I'm thinking it's 10 minutes and it's so worth it. So that's something I recommend to everyone, really.
How did you discover meditation?
When I was in my early 20s, and I think there was some heartbreak going on, and I was like, how do you handle the hard emotions, the difficult parts of life? And then I discovered like that seems to be the whole thing with Buddhism, that everything is suffering, but it's the craving. Like if you can not crave, then you are not suffering. And so detaching from your thoughts and your perception of reality. And then of course within that there's talk of meditation. So then in my late 20s, I think I went to my first Zen retreat for a couple of days, and that was an amazing experience. And since then I've just kept it up, and there are some periods when I don't do it. After a couple of months I'm like, why am I feeling this like all over the place? And then I'm like, okay, now it's time to start again. So yeah, it's very clear that I need to do it.
So you mentioned silent retreat. Curious, what was the longest silent retreat you've ever done?
It was the longest one. It was 4 days.
Okay.
So it was a beginner's retreat, really. And after that, I've only done shorter ones, but I would be happy to do a longer one for sure.
What are you building towards right now?
Oh, in life, I'm trying to stay in the now and just be like trying to do the last couple of years that I have before my body is too old to perform at this level. So I'm trying my best to just see how long I can do it for and enjoy that. And I try to not think too much about the future because everything changes by the day. I think that's one thing in life that I've never really done, like plan too much.
No, that's such a good reminder because I feel like I'm the opposite with that. Think of like the future, what am I gonna do for like the next 10 years and really get heartbreak when it doesn't happen, which is most of the time. So that's a good reminder.
I mean, whatever plans you have, it's rarely that they pan out exactly the way you plan them. But it doesn't mean that some things will go right, or I think we just have to really learn to live with it. And it's one of the things in life I've managed to do well. That's not to say that I'm not sometimes disappointed or sad, but yeah.
Here's an interesting question. What conversations are you hoping to spark through your life with the work that you're doing with your life?
Oh, I actually used to talk to my friends about this who are also players. We were often saying like, what are we actually doing? Like, what are we contributing with to this world other than just some sort of entertainment for a very small amount of people who likes ping pong? I think as an athlete, you show other people that it's okay to try to do your thing. And in my case, if you skip university, it's also okay. It's not something I feel ashamed of. I've done something else and I've done it well, and hopefully I've showed other people that they can also go their own way.
Beautiful. What would you say to someone who's navigating through a tough season or pursuing their dream?
Maybe what I mentioned before about just accepting reality. Sometimes you don't have to make big changes. Sometimes, of course, if you feel like you're stuck, you have to evaluate, do I need to make changes? But if you feel like you're on your path and you're doing the things you love and you're doing them the best way you can, and you're trying to be curious and learn new things, you just have to stick with it, be resilient, and be okay with that. Okay, today wasn't my best day, but I have more tries.
And I know we've been saying a lot of things already, but we are on to our last question. But if there was one last thing that you could say to our listeners, what message would that be?
Whenever I feel like scared or being less curious and more fearful in life, Steve Jobs had a graduation speech where he's talking about basically the fact that we're all gonna die. But he put it in a way that it became something positive. Like you have nothing to fear. You're gonna die anyway. So just like do whatever you want to do and whatever you love, and just kind of go for it because you're gonna die anyway. So just do it.
I mean, for me, I always tell myself, okay, I'm so embarrassed to do this thing that I love. But then at the end of the day, which is correct, like life is so short. And
Yeah.
I guess the next generation or even half a generation won't really know or remember
No, they're
that.
not gonna care.
Yeah.
I think life is so short. I think that's just another way of saying we're all gonna die. So, just less blunt.
Well, thank you so much, Matty, for sharing with us and being with us today on our podcast.
Thank
And
you.
I hope that our listeners learn something that will help them forward. So, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you for all the interesting questions.